Well, a lot of us want to party, party. Well, all we're getting is a tasty, tasty. Well, all right, we're getting a taste of carnival, whatever that taste is, whatever it might look like. I just say appreciate and keep it moving. But this morning, to speak with us about a taste of carnival is the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival Bands Association, Miss Rosalind Gabriel. Good morning to you, Miss Gabriel.
Good morning, Natalie. Thank you for having me, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
You are most welcome. So talk to us, a taste of carnival. What are the bands saying? How are they feeling about this idea?
Well, Natalie, it's a feeling for the bands that is not ideal because, you know, there are no parades allowed. And so we have to make the best of what we are allowed to do, which are safe zone events, which would take the form of competitions for traditional individuals, competitions for conventional individuals, kings and queens, a Dimash Gras show, and other shows in Trinbago and Tuku.
Right. So based on based on how it's organized thus far, the bands won't be able to have any kind of sane carnival this year.
That's correct.
And they're not happy.
Well, I mean, they could never be happy. We weren't happy in 2021, but the safety of the nation comes first.
Yeah.
We all realize that. And some of them got an opportunity to go to Miami. And I know some of them are working on Atlanta now. They have opportunities outside, which, well, some of them have. And so they'll make use of those. But yeah, here we have to adhere to the wishes of the Ministry of Health and the government.
But isn't this, as you said, it's an opportunity then to pivot, because realistically is that even if we're not going to be having carnival in the usual sense that we're used to it, is that there are carnival activities outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe this is an opportunity to grow, though, for a lot of the bands.
Well, a lot of the bands do participate in the carnivals that begin when ours ends. That is nothing new. That has been going on for a while. And as you know, our carnival has spawned carnivals all over the world, many of them. Mm-hmm. So our bands do make use of those outside opportunities.
As an association, yeah, do you all meet and see, you know, where you all can expand the market, where, you know, these bands can go so that they can still earn revenue outside of Trinidad and Tobago? I mean, the Caribbean is a huge carnival market as well.
Yeah, they do, Natalie. Not only the bands, but our artisans as well. Once our carnival is over, they leave our shores and they go to all the West Indian carnivals and as North American carnivals. They go far and wide. And when it's time for ours to begin again, they return. Now, this hasn't happened in the abundance it had before COVID. So the activities for all slow down a bit, but they are now beginning to pick up again.
So are the bands, most of them, can you tell us how many of them are able to, you know, still be functional, still be able to make some kind of profit, even though we don't have carnival in Trinidad and Tobago for last year and this year?
Well, I don't really have a figure this morning, but I know that it could be at least 10 or 12 of them who may be working in Atlanta. Or for Atlanta Carnival at this point. I know one of them is Ronnie and Caro. I heard them speak about it, and I think it was in the media, but there are many others who will work for Atlanta Carnival and the ones that come after that.
What about the smaller bands who may not have that kind of exposure? How have they survived over the period?
Well, that they have had it really hard, Natalie. And the smaller bands also don't enjoy the type of sponsorship that the bigger bands enjoy at Carnival as well. So it's always a struggle for the small bands. We have tried our best to help support them during the 2 years, but it has not been ideal. I know some of them have made use of the creative grant that was instituted by the government with the help of the Ministry of Culture, but it hasn't been ideal for them. It has been a struggle. It still is a struggle. It was a struggle for the traditional characters because, you know, they usually get jobs appearing in the fetes, and so they haven't had anything. And so we are hoping that we could have the competitions this year. We are having the competitions, and that they will benefit from entering the competitions and copping the prizes that we could afford.
But like, who would benefit from that though? Because we're talking about kings and queens, which is mass, really and truly. But what about, you know, the people who play the different kind of characters, the Blue Devils or the Mocha Jumbies or these kind of people? What kind of activity or work would they benefit from?
Well, at the moment, the opportunities for work are really slim. But this is why we tried, and we have been planning since around June or July to be able to host the competitions where they would be they would have prize money to play for, so that these competitions are very important for us because this is what is available to us at the moment. As I say, the conditions are not ideal, but we are trying our best to help support them by way of them entering the competitions that they are accustomed to. In all the years before, we had a big traditional individual competition. We usually host it in Adam Smith Square, and the conventional individuals. But this year we will have it in the Savannah because we cannot move about in all the venues that we are accustomed to. So for this year, the venues that have been approved are the Queen's Park Savannah, Queen's Hall, and Naparima Bowl.
Right.
And so all the NCC activities for all the interest groups will take place in those three venues.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that for the people who are going to be able to partake in these events, it's definitely a welcomed, you know, move by the government so that they can have that taste of Carnival because it's still an opportunity to earn. But in terms of, yeah, in terms of plans for next year, I mean, what are we going to do? What's the Carnival Bands Association going to do to ensure that if COVID-19 continues into next year, that these smaller bands, these, you know, individuals will still have some kind of space that they can do something? Because if we're still in the pandemic and if we're still on this kind of wavelength where we can't have the regular activities, what do we plan? What do we do going forward?
Well, you know, Natalie, I'm glad you asked this question because it has always been, I would say, a problem for me as a mass person that our carnival is centered around January and February. As Christmas is over, Carnival starts, and on Ash Wednesday, Carnival disappears. And we would like to have Carnival events all year round. And so the plan is that Carnival doesn't disappear on Ash Wednesday. And the minister also mentioned this, the Honorable Randall Mitchell. He also mentioned carrying Carnival events throughout the year. And so the plan is that we will try, I mean, it's still fluid with this pandemic, but the plan is to try to engage the mass fraternity, the mass community right through the year, with maybe something every other month, maybe something every quarter. It's in the works. But now the plan isn't done definitely yet, but this is our intention.
Yeah. And I think that's half of the problem, though, is that a lot of times people have ideas, but it takes so long to get a
Yes,
decision that maybe by
yes,
the time, because the thing is, you know, we've seen Ronnie and Carol, we've seen different areas, the Trinidad and Tobago Promoters Association, we've seen mass people, we've seen wire benders all saying that at this point it's too late because, you know, to get these costumes, to build a proper costume and to
yes.
bend that wire and to get the material in and all, it takes months, you know?
It does, Natalie, but I would like to say that there's a lot of excitement in the
Yeah,
mass fraternity. The kings and queens are busy. The yards have come to life. There are kings and queens costume being built all over. And even though the decision came down late, I think I don't think I could explain being a mass person myself that we don't conceptualize costumes the month before Carnival. We dream them all year. And I think this has been the case where when the word came, yes, we could go ahead, it didn't take them long to spring into life. But I
yeah.
still would say the situation is not ideal. But I think that Trinidad and Tobago will be very surprised by what they see this carnival. I have high hopes.
Right. All right, Miss Gabriel, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, and we're looking forward to the events regardless.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
You're most
Have a
welcome.
good day.